Hey everyone, it's Joe Zuccarello again with Groomer's Choice, and today we're going to be talking about selling versus recommending. So if you don't feel that you're a good salesperson, that is totally fine. In fact, we don't want you to be a great salesperson. What we want you to be is somebody that does a really great job of recommending services and products that you can perform for the pets that visit your grooming establishments to not only take care of their well-being, but also to assume that role as the expert for the pet parents who rely on you for that particular relationship, for that particular role and partnership, if you would, in the well-being of their pets. So what I mean when I talk about recommendation or recommending versus selling, we're talking all about add-ons. You've got your base grooming price, and that's really great, but how do you make more? How do you maximize your income potential for yourself and the income potential for your business? Not necessarily always by doing more dogs, but driving that average ticket price up by offering add-ons. But many of us come well short when it comes to ads, when it comes to recommending add-ons, because we are not really great salespeople. So we sort of turtle up, we sort of pull back. We wait for customers to request things versus us recommending things. Most of the time because we feel like we're not really great salespeople. So I'm here to give you a get out of jail free card. Don't worry about being salespeople. In fact, like I said just a moment ago, we don't want you to be a salesperson. But what we want you to do is be able to recommend with conviction. Let's talk about that word conviction for just a moment. A conviction is a belief or a strongly held opinion that you have, that what it is that you are referring to or you're recommending to somebody, or you're requesting that somebody consider that you perform for their pet. That is that belief. That is that it should come naturally to you. In fact, I'll ask you, go back and remember a time in recent past where maybe you purchased something, maybe you went somewhere, maybe you went to a restaurant, maybe you had an experience that was so great that you couldn't wait. You just couldn't wait to tell your friends and family about it. That is that conviction, that belief, right? It could be something small, like you purchased a really great pen, or maybe a really great hairdryer, or I had somebody one time tell me in a seminar they had this really great mascara. Now I don't know about mascara, but she went on for 5 minutes talking about how awesome this mascara was, and I'll bet that people, complete strangers in that audience, went out and bought that same mascara because somebody who now referred or recommended this product because she was so thrilled with it, they went out and thought, you know what, if it's good for her, complete stranger, but she had that conviction, it's going to be good for them. So remember one of those situations or those products that you couldn't wait to tell people about. That's that same energy that we want you to pull from when you're making a recommendation to the pet parents that bring their pets into your grooming establishment. So there's a couple of rules, right? There's a couple of rules when it comes to recommending with conviction. And the number one rule is, and really nothing works unless this rule is abided by, and that is the add-on that you're making this recommendation, the add-on service, the extra service, must benefit the pet or the pet parent. That's like the golden rule of add-ons, right? If it doesn't benefit the pet or the pet parent, not only are you going to have lackluster results with ramping up and maximizing your income potential through an elevated average ticket, but you're going to get discouraged, right? You're going to get discouraged because people, if it doesn't benefit them or doesn't benefit their pet, they're just not going to buy it from you, right? So make it easy on yourself and only select those products and services that you know abide by rule number one of recommending with conviction, and that is it must benefit the pet or the pet parent. Okay? Number two rule of recommending with conviction is you need to know about the product, right, that you're going to be using. Not that you have to be a product expert, not that you have to know the chemistry behind the products, but you've got to be able to really have a belief and really strongly recommend from here that product or that service. You got to know that product or service up here. So rely on the product manufacturers, on the brands of these products to give you education pieces that you can go and watch, that you can read, that you can maybe even distribute to your customers that say, this is why I believe in this product, because not only does it come from my mouth that I believe in this product and I love this product, but I know about this product, I know about the service, I know about how it benefits you or your pet. So that's rule number one, is that you've got to be able to, in order to believe in a product, you've got to be able to know the product, okay? Number 3 rule, and there's a lot of different rules. I think I've got 7 in total, but I'm just gonna give you this third one today, and we're gonna call it for today, and might come back with an episode phase 2 for you. But number 1 rule, it must benefit the pet or the pet parent. Number 2, you must know the product or the service that you're going to be recommending. But step number 3 is you have to remove yourself from the spending equation. And any of your staff, if you're a manager, owner, operator of a grooming business, you have to remove yourself. In that dialogue with the customer, you've got to remove yourself from the spending equation. What I mean by that is, just because you can't afford it or wouldn't afford this service or product for your customer doesn't mean that you don't recommend it. What I mean by this is, in many cases, in my experience, we had full service baths and we had shed control treatments, right? They were not put together. They were purposely, shed control treatments were an add-on to full service baths. But shed control treatments, the way that we had them priced, and we were very, very successful with this, was that, let's say we had the bath at $50, the shed control treatment was $20 to $25 more than the full service bath. So that's a big ask, right? And not many of us might be able to or want to afford that, but that doesn't mean that if you have this service that you know about, that it benefits the pet or the pet parent, and you know that it works, right? Definitely don't hold back from recommending it just because it might be a little pricey. In fact, let me flip the tables in this thought process for a moment. Most of the time, we'll get what's called coupon courage, right? We will offer services that are very low budget, right? Very low ticket, like $3 extra, $5 extra. Why? Because it's cheap, because it's inexpensive, and because for whatever reason, we feel like we might get more yeses because it's less expensive. If that's the case, then maybe we haven't selected the best services or products to be able to offer to your customers. Because again, just because you cannot or would not afford this from your own economic or financial situation doesn't mean that you make that decision for your pet parent clients by not even offering it to begin with. There's a reason why when you go to restaurants, there's a variety of different meals on the menu. Everything from their most expensive, beautiful filet mignon at $50 just for the steak, down to a hamburger that might be $10 or $12, because our customers can afford, our customers are a very different economic position, right? They can afford several different layers of pricing, several different layers of products and services that you can offer. So don't forget, if you truly believe in that filet mignon, if you truly believe in that service, even though it might be 30, 40, 50% more on the average ticket price, if you believe in it, you're going to recommend it, and customers are going to agree for you to perform those services for their pet. Again, my name is Joe Zuccarello. This is brought to you by Groomer's Choice. We would love to be your one-stop shop for all of your supplies, all of your equipment, all of the needs that you have in your grooming businesses to help you perform and be the very best that you can be. Take care. We'll see you on the next episode.